Hi there, my name is JackTheFallout and welcome to the hidden lore of Blade and Sorcery. I'm gonna cover everything I can in this beautiful game. From facts to speculation, you will see a tag in the top left corner. For example, fact, Blade and Sorcery started development in 2016. It was a multiplayer precursor to the Blade and Sorcery that we know today. There was in fact a working prototype, but ultimately Cosby found that the physics were too unmanageable for multiplayer, and so that the idea was abandoned and they started to focus just on single player, which eventually turned into the game we know and love today. Speculation. Cosby is a magic wielding Norse god with powers no one can match. Blade and Sorcery is currently working on its lore, so everything here is and could be subject to change. Take it with a pinch of salt. A ton of work has been put into this video, so if you like the video it will help me out a lot. Also, let me know what you think about my theories. With that being said, let's begin. Chapter 1. The world. This is information about the world or planet that you are on. It has come to my understanding that Blade and Sorcery is not set on Earth. It is a whole nother planet. And you can see this when looking outside of the player character screen. And you will find a very large planet that looks a lot like a gas giant. This probably affects the tide in the world, acting like a moon of sorts. You can see the Aurora Borealis. If you have no idea what an Aurora Borealis is, it's basically energized particles from the sun slamming into the atmosphere. This confirms that this location is most likely the northern or southern hemisphere. So this means that where the player character starts is most likely the poles of the planet that you are on. And then if you look up into the sky, you will see a huge anomaly or tear into the sky. I think this has a lot more importance than you think. This world is currently unnamed. It has many regions and places, the lush mountains in and around the market, a small village with homes and agriculture can be seen here. From hay bales and what could be stables as well as barns, this place is where people gather, get supplies, weapons are imported and sold. This is one of many places owned and run by the Blue Flag Group. Our main faction in the game, we'll talk more about them later. You can see on the outskirts of the market there are tall mountains. I believe in those mountains is where you will find our next map, the ruins. And when you enter the ruins map, you will find, surprise surprise, an old rundown ruined temple. I think that this temple was built for an old religion that is since gone. The temple itself has been taken over, by whom we're not sure yet. In the distance on the ruins map, you can see a foresty area with a building of some kind. What purpose this holds, I have no idea. Maybe it's another temple dedicated to this since gone religion. The Citadel is a temple, still in operation mind you, belonging to the Blue Flag Group. In the Citadel you can see villages under siege, a destroyed wall in the distance, beautiful architecture. There are ships in the distance defending against an overseas threat. On your travels you might find a hidden river. If you follow it you'll find yourself at the canyon. The canyon was once a flourishing home to the gladiators, but it has since been taken over by the Blue Flag Group. You can see this because in U10 it looks like this, and when you switch over to U11 it looks like this. They have put up their banners and built a city in the side of the mountain. Ever since our residential faction moved in, there has been a few updates to the area. I think that the arena is owned by the gladiators too, and it's where people from far and wide come to train and test their skill. And then you have the Greenland, aka dungeons, the bases of operations of our Blue Flag Group. These places are situated all along the coast, and it's where their deepest secrets and artifacts lie, and it's most likely close to the Citadel. And finally we have the player's home. After arriving we set up a base of operations there. There are many places to explore in this secluded homestead. With an ocean on our doorstep and a mystery that lies within the cave, an ancient door, no one knows where it leads. But don't stop there, this door has a secret. If you use the meteor fire spell on the center of the door, this happens. It appears that the door has some form of magical energy that pushes you back further than normal. Here's me casting it on just a normal wall. So the player character home is in a secluded location, maybe a close approximation to where the dungeons and the citadel are, but not too close to arouse suspicion. Chapter 2. The Humans of Blade and Sorcery. Starting with who you are and why is the player here. I believe you are either a mercenary with experience in blades and sorcery, and you have managed to master both. You have finally got that big score from a leader from across the sea, maybe Cosby's profile picture, or in a similar fashion you are already a legend, people know your name, and that's what has led you to this mission. By looking at the character screen, I think you are from the northern section of this world. You travelled across the sea by boat on an important mission. We know that Blade and Sorcery is not going to be doing the cliche fantasy tropes, so we're definitely not going to be seeing elves, dwarves, orcs, the normal fantasy creatures in Blade and Sorcery. While it's definitely possible other humanoid creatures exist in this world, mind you, in rarity, this is a mostly human populated world with people from different races and cultures. When it comes to religions, Blade and Sorcery isn't going to be following the religions of Earth. They'll probably be taking tropes of existing religions and working with that. When you boot up the game, you are shown a loading screen with runes all around the outside. These runes can also be seen on a statue when you first enter a dungeon. While it looks like a mix between the Phoenician alphabet and Scandinavian runes, the runes themselves were actually created by one of the Blade and Sorcery artists. It was said that someone managed to translate those runes, but I personally couldn't find the post. I think it's most likely possible. There are many other symbols and markings that can be found in the game. Other symbols that can be seen are the Celtic sailor's knot. This represents the sea in summertime and was a keepsake of harmony, lasting love, friendship and affection. These symbols can be found scattered around the dungeons and inscribed on some weapons. Maybe some of the cult members I spoke about were once sailors. A Celtic love knot can be found on the mall, which is a very strange place to put a love knot. The continuous line represents the eternity of love and the binding between two people. Again, weird place to put a love knot. The Dara knot is another Celtic symbol and it represents oak trees. This symbol was called upon by the ancient Celts to provide strength, inner wisdom in tough situations. This symbol can be found on the following weapons. The antique greatsword. It can be seen on the claymore. It can also be seen on the antique sword, as well as the handle of the flanged mace. The triquetra symbol can be seen on a few weapons, and it is said to represent many things such as unity, protection, and everlasting life. Remember that. The triquetra symbol can be found on the following weapons: the war sword, the reverend sword, and last but certainly not least, it can also be seen on the raiding sword. There are many other symbols in the game. For example, the gladiators wear an up-facing crescent moon. This is referencing the horned god, being of Wicca, a modern pagan religion that is commonly associated with witchcraft. It is my understanding and beliefs that the gladiators in the world of Blade and Sorcery believe in the horned god, or if not, they worship him instead. A triskele symbol can be seen on some of the armors in the game. When translating the word to English, it can mean 3 legs, but its spiritual meaning is to symbolize inner and outer worlds and themes of birth, death and rebirth, as well as the unity of mental, physical and spiritual self. There are many real-world symbols and artist-created symbols in Blade and Sorcery. That was just to name a few. Now it's time for some fun with flags and banners. You can see a few different flags and banners around the maps, most notably the blue flag. There are many flags in the game, but the most prominent one is the blue flag. As I've mentioned, the blue flag group, our main faction in the game. The blue flag can be found in the following locations. You can see it scattered all around the citadel, you can see it in the market, as well as Greenland, aka dungeons, and it has most recently made an appearance in the canyon. I'm guessing that they took it over very recently. Other flags include red flags around the arena, and a strange cream flag with a castle and an odd pattern in the ruins. I think these are dying or overshadowed factions, much like how now God is a thing, but no one believes in Anubis. When you first enter a dungeon, sometimes you'll spawn on the beach with a boat. If you look on the floor, you'll be able to see some text. That text is written in Latin and it has a few images. This text can also be found in a library section of the dungeon itself. Okay, so how about we translate that text and see what it says? Unfortunately, I don't speak Latin, so when translating this text, it came out a little bit weird. This text is actually just placeholder text, so it is 100% not canon, but I am going to read some of my favourite lines because I think it's funny. If you would like to read the full thing, it will be on screen, and there'll be some images in my Discord as well. Page number 1. Let the average man be loved by the kids, and not always bow to the annoyance. Choose sometimes the lake is soft and even poisonous. It is always in the chocolate if the lion is easy to the players. Page number 2. The vehicle in the annoying bed of bears of life, none floating poisonous vehicles. The lion takes a lot of makeup from the big gate. Page number 3. The couch, which the immune system of life is leaving in pain. Right now, in drugs. Willis Mass, the biggest sponsor of Pakistan. That's the ferry. He chooses and receives. Now that's a moolah sauce. But every time, wow, a great coach. Chapter 3, Magic and the Blue Flag Group. This is a religion or cult that have power and followers from all different races and cultures. While the Blue Flag Group are unnamed at this point, from this point onwards I'm going to refer to them as the followers of the crystal, because that's what I think they do. After a great event 100 to 200 years ago, the sky opened up and a huge shockwave shook the planet. Magical crystals rained down, causing chaos all over the world of Blade and Sorcery. The crystals are powerful artifacts with the ability to imbue magic and disperse it at the user's will. After the crystal dust was infused with various weapons, it gave people the ability to imbue those weapons with magical abilities. I believe this to be the case because you can imbue all of the weapons, but you can't imbue the armor. The birth of the followers of the crystal. And after this great event that shook the world, the followers of the crystal were born. A man in his younger years discovered that he could manipulate gravity, and through this discovery he started researching and looking into what he could do with it. And soon after, he created the Followers of the Crystal, an organization to bring peace to the world. But after his untimely death years later, people took over this organization and wanted more nefarious goals. This great man that started this once good organization can be seen in the Citadel as a form of a statue. From an honest start to an evil end, the followers of the Crystal are currently doing wicked and horrific things. Currently there is an unknown man or woman in the seat of power, and I believe that they are searching for eternal life. Some of the symbols that you can see on the weapons mean eternal life, and I believe that's a clue. I think that's why war is breaking out in the Citadel. I think some of the lesser factions in this world don't agree with them bringing the dead back. Yeah, you heard me. That's what I think that they are doing. I think they're meddling with life itself. Creating undead minions in the forms of skeletons and zombified corpses to add to their numbers. And that's why we are running the dungeons. To thin their numbers and learn their secrets and try and stop this powerful cult from getting even more powerful. They have managed to take over nearly all of the maps in the game, putting their classic blue banners up everywhere to signify we own this and we are the leaders. And the future game mode Crystal Hunt is all part of this. The player, you, are tasked with collecting these crystals to gain your own power or keep the power away from the enemy. The big anomaly you can see in the sky in the main menu is what caused magic in the first place. After a big shockwave shook the earth, magic was born, creating this sorcery-filled world. Mages started popping up everywhere after the first guy discovered how to use magic. While some people are really strong in sorcery, some people aren't, but everyone has the ability to use magic in this world. Chapter 4. The fauna of this planet. The fauna being the creatures and animals of the world. This includes everything that isn't a human. Technically. In the cave near where you start your adventure, you can see a skeleton skull. If this was just a human skull, it would just say human skull. I'm pretty certain that undead exist in this universe, and they are being brought back by the followers of the crystal through their goal of searching for eternal life, creating undead minions to fight alongside them. It is very clear that creatures of Earth exist in this universe as well. You can see many different kinds of hides all around the world as well, on different maps and in the dungeons. These hides include animals that are the following. This, for example, is a cow hide, confirming the existence of cows in Blade and Sorcery. And this hide rug is most likely a fallow deer, pretty much confirming their existence. And these resemble red deer antlers, but I'm not sure if that's true though. We can see a statue of a lion in the canyon. Lions must exist, otherwise they wouldn't know what a lion looks like. There are pigeons flying around the arena, as well as seagulls flying around your base of operations. And if you head on over to the market, there are geese flying around as well. You can see hoof prints near the hay in your home base. This whole area kind of confirms horses exist in this universe. You can see beehives in your base of operations tucked away in a small cove. And I couldn't just not mention Jonathan the chicken. Chickens exist. Now, do fantasy creatures exist in the world of Blade and Sorcery? Well, the Baron seems to think most definitely yes. So, fantasy creatures definitely exist in this universe. At what degree we don't know, and what types we haven't got a clue yet, but I'm sure we will find out in due time. And also fish exist because the Baron said that that's a good idea on Reddit. Chapter 5. The closing segment. You are a powerful warrior with magical abilities and intense sword fighting skills sent from the distant northern lands to take on a foe huge in numbers and power. By collecting crystals and running through dungeons, taking out outposts, you are able to take the followers of the crystal head on, fighting everything that they throw at you, defending yourself against undead and humans alike. While on the road being attacked by rare and thought extinct creatures, only through willpower and your skill you can overcome the challenges ahead, visiting different places on your travels, training with gladiators in the arena, hearing stories from an old man on the side of the road with wisdom of the Big Bang that gave birth to the world we have today and the magic that people can use, wondering what it would be like without. Heading back to base after a long day fighting, feeding all of your Jonathans that you have collected, and patting your horse ready for another day of Blade and Sorcery. Thank you so much for watching. My name is JackTheFallout, and this has been the hidden lore of Blade and Sorcery. A huge thank you to the Baron for answering my questions, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. I love Blade and Sorcery. It's my favourite VR game, and I really cannot wait to see what this game has in the future. Bye for now. And that's just a theory. A game theory. Wait, that's not my line. Okay, I'm going now. Bye. If you would like to join our amazing Discord community, link is in the description, as well as my Twitter as well, at JackTheFallout. And a big thank you to all of our wonderful Patreons for helping support the channel. Just look at the detail on this big door thing. Is it a door? Is it a portal to another dimension? No. No! No! Ah! Oh god, the people! Help! Help! No, not you again! No, oh! Back off! Back off, this is a nightmare! I'm in U8 purgatory! No! Whatever you do, do not touch that door. The door's cursed.